The war on retirement. Ugh. I'm coming at you from the libertarian right. You know that. I would call myself a populist as opposed to a right-winger, as opposed to a pure libertarian, but I'm definitely aligned with both a hell of a lot more than I am with the left. But us on the right, libertarian, populist right, we get way too caught up in just bad data. And we're going to read this from guys that I would probably be aligned with. I'm not familiar with them, maybe to my mistake, but let's just read this because I'm reading this. I'm like, why? Of all the things to freaking panic about, this ain't it. It's the weirdest thing to me. All you're doing is creating, I don't want to say enemies, but I guess you're giving the insanity of the left ground to bash you because of articles like this. And it's just stupid, man. Why give the left anything? They already have everyone in their back pocket. And all you're doing is you're letting them right on in to continue on. And this is not a fight worth fighting because, and A, they're wrong. And B, it's a non-brainer. So you're not going to win. It's kind of like, I hate the minimum wage. It's stupid. But people like it. Yes, we could say they're economically illiterate. That's fine. Good luck winning. Hey, you economically illiterate people who support the minimum wage, vote for me. That doesn't work. That's just not a fight to win. You're not going to win. That's not a fight to play. You say, okay, well, we're not going to be able to do it over here. So you draw other things that you can get traction with, man. You're just not going to win some of these battles. And this one right here is a perfect example. American Institute of Economic Research, and they're definitely I don't say not a newsletter, but a website, AIER, and I refer to them quite a bit. And these two guys right here, James Harrigan, Managing Director of the Center for Philosophy and Freedom at the University of Arizona. He's an F.A. Hayek Distinguished Fellow at the Foundation for Economic Education for fee. All right, he was at the Institute for Humane Studies. I mean, so this guy is like literally my cup of tea, this guy. Because I say, yep, IHS, Hayek, the whole thing. So I'm all, yeah, it's all good. Then we got Anthony Davies. He's a Milton Friedman Distinguished Fellow at the Foundation for Economic Education fee. Principles of Microeconomics, Understanding Statistics through the Cato Institute. And all kinds of good stuff. So I'm like, yeah, man, all right, good. But this article is just bad. Of the 5 most expensive wars in the United States, only one, World War II, involved an armed enemy. The other 5, poverty, drugs, terror, and COVID, were all wars on nouns. I agree with that. Now the federal government appears to have inadvertently stumbled into another one, the war on retirement. Unlike the other wars on nouns, this one isn't only undeclared, it wasn't even intended. But the federal government has taken a series of steps that, regardless of intent, have yielded a situation in which retirement may end up a pipe dream for any. This is so stupid. Ironically, the war on retirement began with Social Security in 1935. Rather than establish a forced savings program wherein people would save money during their working years and have that money returned to them during retirement, the government established a Ponzi scheme wherein later participants paid off earlier participants. And as with all Ponzi schemes, the program was sustainable only if there were more people paying into the system than receiving benefits from it. But by the early 1980s, too few people were paying in, and Congress fired its first salvo at retirees by making previously tax-free retirement benefits taxable. All right. So remember, in 1983, what Reagan signed, you pay tax on 50% of your Social Security benefits, but it's not even that simple, man. And this is where people don't understand the combined income rules, what I call provisional income rules of Social Security. But think about it. Why would it make sense to pay tax on 50% of your benefit? Because you never received that benefit. It was deferred from your employer. So you're paying a certain amount of income into your forced savings, your Social Security, and your employer is matching that forced savings into Social Security. The employer, you never pay tax on that money, ever. No different than a match on your 401k. You never pay tax on that money. And by the way, the employer gets to write it off. All right, so because you never pay tax on it, when you receive it, you're matching on the 401k, you have to pay income tax. So would these guys then be saying we should never have income tax on your 401k match? It's the same thing, man. It's stupid. Now we can argue about the 1993 rules that Clinton signed, where 85% of your benefit is subject to taxation. Yeah, even that is kind of silly too, because you're sitting there thinking, how much did you actually put into the program? A whole hell of a lot less than you're getting back. So essentially they're saying when the actuaries looked at it, they say 15% of your benefit is your return of principal. That's what you will not pay tax on. The other amount is what you've earned, either interest or contributions from your employer. I mean, literally that makes sense. It literally does make sense if you think about it in the context of a 401k. The tweak in tax rules breathed new life into the Ponzi scheme, and Social Security reserves once again grew. But the scheme faltered again in 2010, and since then, Social Security has been paying out more than it brings in. Current estimates have it becoming insolvent in 2035. Again, this is freaking straight out of the left-wing playbook. It's insolvent in the fact that it won't be able to pay 100% of its promised benefits. It's not insolvent that there won't be anything left. This is straight out of the left-wing playbook, man. It just drives me crazy. To keep this bloated program afloat, Congress will eventually be forced to fire yet another salvo when it either raises workers' taxes or reduces retirees' benefits. Wait, you just said it's insolvent, so how can it do that? Huh? And with each passing year, as albatross grows around workers' necks, will become heavier. All right, so let's talk about this. There'll be when it either raises workers' taxes or reduces retirees' benefits. All right, so let me ask you a question. What have you not seen in here? They say we don't have enough people paying in relative to what it was when it first started. We used to have 16 workers for every recipient, and now we don't have that. And then they're going to say that means we're going to have to raise taxes or increase or decrease benefits. What is missing there? They've been raising taxes, man. They've been raising taxes. Your Social Security, 6.2%. Remember, FICA is 7.65. So OASDI, Old Age Survivor Disability Insurance. That's what that's a 6.2, and then 1.45 for Medicare. That wasn't always at 6.2. It wasn't always there. There's a hell of a lot. I think it was like freaking 1% back when we started out. I've done videos, and off the top of my head, I don't remember. But you can look at my old videos and just read the Social Security system itself. They've raised taxes time and again on payroll. Why? Because the fact that there are less workers for beneficiary. So they're assuming that this will be the first time. No. It's just what happens. And they've been doing it. And I just want to know, when have they ever reduced benefits? When? Huh? Literally, when have they ever reduced benefits? They haven't. They're not gonna. Because the maximum benefit you receive at full retirement age is like $3,200 a month. That's it. Now, they might say we're going to tax you more as a income if you have more than, I don't know, $1 million of income in retirement, something like that. I got no qualm with that. But they're not. Okay, will they reduce benefits on Bill Gates? Yeah, maybe. Is that going to do much? No, it's not going to help much with Social Security because Bill Gates doesn't get that much benefits to begin with. Stupid. I hate this. I hate this fear mongering. All right, the Federal Reserve predictably has been an invaluable ally into the government's unwitting war of retirement. And again, just stupid. Since the late 1980s, the Federal Reserve has been relentless in driving interest rates down. Interest rates on savings accounts, CDs, and even Treasury bills are now functionally zero. So these guys don't know a freaking thing about Social Security. What is Social Security's, what reserve is based on? The interest rate it gets on government bonds, you people. And I'm talking about these freaking authors here, not you people, not my audience. So if the federal government, by reducing the interest rate, it is reducing the rates that Social Security gets in this trust fund. It's not a trust fund. It's not a lockbox, but there is a amount of money that the Social Security keeps that's getting investment returns on. It's based on the interest rate of the bonds it has. It's so flippin' stupid. Just read the doggone trustees report. There's low, intermediate, high. All right, and the intermediate is a 25 to 75% threshold. The low is 0 to 25, and the high is 75% above, something like that. So the intermediate is a high probability, is what the trustees say. All right. So the low means low inflation, low in interest rates. All right. High means high inflation, high interest rates, or any combination therein. And the low unemployment, high unemployment, the whole thing. But interest rates are in that significantly as part of what keeps the Social Security solvent, is the interest rates they receive on the amount of money they have in the system. So you can't have it both ways, people. You can't say the federal government is dooming, the federal government is making itself look good by lowering interest rates. And I'll read you why they say that. But at the same time, if you know how Social Security works, you would never say that. It's stupid. All right, so basically, even the return on corporate bonds is so low as to barely keep pace with inflation. That's what it's always been. I just, the economic illiteracy of these freaking, I don't know if they're professors or what, it boggles the flipping mind. Fed policy has put such a squeeze on, just go back to the 70s, dude. Net your corporate bonds, net your treasury bonds, net of inflation, and see what the rate of return is relative to where you are today. In fact, if you factor in taxes, it's even worse back than it is today. Fed policy has put such a squeeze on savers. The only way to save for retirement is to invest in stocks. It's just BS. And while younger workers have plenty of time to weather the risk of waxing and waning stocks, forcing retirees or near retirees into stocks exposes them to risks they can't weather nearly as well. That literally makes no sense. Well, I mean, what does that have to do with Social Security? And now the Biden administration presents a coup de grace. Biden has proposed doubling the capital gain tax rates. You know, the tax you pay when you make a profit in the stock market. Okay. The White House says the elevated tax will only apply to those earning over $1 million, but tax on the rich have a solid history of eventually being applied to everyone else. Interesting. I keep hearing this. And yet, I tell you what, man, when has anyone won office on proposing to raise taxes on middle-class Americans? The last person did that was Walter Mondale, and what happened to that guy? He only won Minnesota, and that was his home state, and he just barely won that. The idea that Congress is going to raise taxes on middle-class taxpayers, the whole thing is just stupid, man. Politicians promised a new income. He said, look at the birth of the federal income tax. Well, the beauty of the federal income tax that FDR did was withholding. Oh, man, if you had to cut your check, we would not be in the place where we are to pay your taxes. I mean, it was an amazing way to scheme to get you to release your money without noticing it. Now people think if they don't get a tax refund, their taxes went up. It's crazy. All right, politicians promised a new income tax will only be 1%. It would apply only to the rich. Once instituted, it took Congress only 5 years to raise the income tax rate sixfold and apply it to everyone, even the poor. This lack of economic history here, man. It's crazy. In real war, there are rules that require humane treatment for vanquished enemies. Retirees can expect no treatment in the war on retirement. Those who manage to save enough for retirement, despite Social Security and despite near zero interest rates, will be punished in death. The Biden administration intends to raise the tax on dying by slashing the estate tax exemption in half. Retirees' heirs would have to hand over to the federal government 40% of whatever savings the retiree had left above the exemption. Okay, so we talked about this before, and this is just idiotic. I'm embarrassed that these guys had written this. The proposed exemption, around $5 million, is high enough that it will apply mostly to the rich and the small business owners. But like the federal income tax exemption, the estate tax will soon come for the rest of us. Will it there, guy? Because the estate tax used to be $675,000 was the exemption, and now it's $11 in a million bucks, and it's portable. All right, portable means you're married. I don't use my exemption; I transfer it to my wife. It's portable to hers. Has Biden even proposed eliminating the estate tax, or no? He got rid of that in his tax plan. So if Sniffy Joe isn't doing it, well, who's going to do it? Kamala, maybe. But it's certainly not on the agenda item for Sniffy Joe as we see here today. This is just fear-mongering. It's fear-mongering. I hate it. I hate fear-mongering. And just remember, it was in 2003, my friends. The federal estate tax exemption was only $675,000. If you had a dollar over $675,000, that next dollar was taxed at, I think it was 55%. That's not what is anywhere near that today. So we can say, but look what they did in the past. Okay, let's look what they did in the last 40 years, man. By the way, he has never said Biden that I see not getting rid of portability either. So if you're married, final joint, you still got $10 million estate that's not subject to taxation. Look, I'm not arguing in favor of that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, this is just fear-mongering. All right, now this one's a stupid one. And I mean, he's talking about the getting rid of the capital gains, the step-up. I get that. the step up is stupid. I will strenuously fight Sniffy Joe on that. And everyone, that's not. I'm just telling you, man. There's no way the step up basis is going away. The war in retirement has much in common with an actual war, World War I. A Serbian killed a nephew of the emperor, caused the empire to declare war on Serbia. But Russia was allied with Serbia, and the declaration forced Russia to mobilize. Okay, whatever. So the war of retirement. The government never intended to wage war on retirees, but set in motion that could collectively just do that. This is freaking stupid. We don't. They don't even let us have comments. Such a bad argument. Such a horrible argument. I'll let you guys figure that one out. Put a link in the show notes. Love to hear your thoughts. See ya.